Mark, another Mad Movie Mark movie review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 1953 musical extravaganza, The Band Wagon.
I'm so glad!
Oh well, I hope this review meets your expectations a little bit more than that did. I'm reviewing every movie that has 100% fresh rate Rotten Tomatoes. I'll give them all a score of 1 to 10. After I watch them and score them all, I'll rank them from worst to best. I started in the 1920 silent movie era, and now I'm at 1953 with The Band Wagon. This movie stars Fred Astaire as Tony Hunter, Cyd Charise as Gabrielle Gerard, Nanette Fabray as Lily Martin, Jack Buchanan as Jeffery Cordova, Oscar Levant as Lester, and James Mitchell as Paul Bird. It has 100% fresh rating from the critics and 82% fresh rating from the audience. And I'll say right off the bat that this is finally a Fred Astaire movie that I enjoyed. All right, yes. I've seen Top Hats, and I also saw The Holiday Inn, and didn't like either of them. I know Top Hat's a more famous movie, but I like this one more. And I think the reason why I liked this movie more is because Fred Astaire plays someone who is not egotistical in any way. He's not all about himself. This isn't a love triangle between him and another guy and with another girl. It's just a movie about him wanting to keep acting, wanting to keep continuing to be the star that he once was, and his struggle with that, and his struggle with trying to pair with a much younger Cyd Charise. It's a lot more inner struggle, and it's a lot more struggle with himself and what he thinks his capabilities are and what everyone thinks his capabilities are, more than it is a stupid love triangle, more than it is him being overly cocky and confident about himself. This is a movie where I think he does his best work, in my opinion. So when this movie first opens, we are at an auction where they are selling off Tony Hunter's items. He is older now. I think in real life he's in his 50s. He is a washed up actor now, song and dance man. He's not what he used to be. They're trying to auction off his items, but they're having a very hard time because they have no value. No one wants them. No one cares about who he is anymore.
Let's start with $5. Do I hear $5? It's worth a lot more. All right, let's start with 2. Well, 50 cents.
So they're unable to sell his items, and then he is on a train. He's trying to meet his 2 friends who have written a play specifically for him, and he wants to come see how it is, and if he actually wants to do it. He's not sure if he wants to get back into the acting game. He's not sure if he wants to get back into the song and dance game. He's just trying to help out some friends and see what they have available. So he goes to them, and they read the script, and they say, look, we have this director. He's a fantastic director. He's the best director you've ever seen. He's done all these really great plays. Have you ever heard of him? And Tony Hunter's like, oh, I've never heard of him. And as they're talking about this, they're walking down the main city, like a Times Square type of thing. And Tony Hunter's reminiscing about how this building used to be so much different. There used to be so much less flash, and there was this place meant something at one time. Now it's gaudy, and it's terrible, and it doesn't look like it used to be. So he's really living in the past, and he's really he's not able to accept what's going on. He's not able to accept the present. He's not able to accept the future. He really wants what he had back then. And I think him wanting the city to be like it was is also him wanting to be like what he had back then.
Serious. I don't think he ever heard of this fella.
What's the matter, Tony? Don't you even get newspapers back in California?
Listen, this genius directed Man in the Mousetrap, The Lost Nymph, and did them both while starring in Oedipus Rex.
So they're walking, and they're telling him about this director and how great he is. They're going to go watch this director put on his most recent play, and he's just going to see how fantastic everything is. So they go to the play, and he's watching it, and it's not your normal play. It's quite unusual, and it's not a musical. So Tony Hunter, right off the bat, is concerned that this guy's not going to be able to do a musical because he doesn't have any musical background. He doesn't really know what to do with a musical. But they assure him, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He can pretty much do anything that he wants. He is a genius.
Distant spot, conceal me, kill me.
This guy is going to direct a musical? This guy can do anything.
And then he even tells them with a meeting that, you know, it's not really the director, what the director can do that decides the play. It's what the actors are able to give. It's what the material is. You know, it's everything coming together. That's what makes the play. It's not just the director. He says he'll do fine because he's a really good director. And we want to get Gabrielle Gerard. She's the one we want to get for this. Now, you know, Tony Hunter doesn't think this is possible, and he doesn't want Gabrielle Gerard to be his leading lady because she is a ballerina. Now, she's one of the most famous ballerinas of the time. Everyone knows who she is. She's a big name, and she's very hard to get. So Tony Hunter is kind of worried because she doesn't know how to do his type of dancing, and he's really too old to learn her type of dancing. Now, he used to do ballet back in the day, but, you know, he doesn't remember it. He doesn't remember what he's doing. So they're not sure if they can get Gabrielle Gerard at all because she's so hard to get. But the director, Jeffery Cordova, he has come up with this surefire way to kind of talk to her boyfriend, who is a choreographer, and he's going to pretend like he doesn't want her, like he wants him as a choreographer for the play. And, you know, she can come along if she wants, but he doesn't really want her. It ends up working. He ends up offering his girlfriend, Gabrielle Gerard, for the picture.
With fire, charm, beauty. A great lady with a gamin quality. Now, you know, no dancer can give you that.
Oh, now, wait. Of course, I wouldn't let her do it, but Gabrielle has all that and more.
And they decide that they're going to have Tony Hunter and Gabrielle Gerard meet each other so that they're going to be leading lady and leading man. They're going to meet each other. They're going to have all this chemistry with each other. They're going to click right away, and the play is going to happen, and it's going to be fantastic. So when this meeting happens, they're both in opposite rooms, and you can hear Jeffery Cordova, who's kind of like in a middle room, and they're around him, and he's giving this speech to try to get investors into this musical. And the speech he's giving is completely, the story he's giving of what the play is, what the musical is completely different than what was written. And it's completely different than what the two writers imagined it was going to be. And he's just giving this fire and brimstone, and the devil's going to come down, and it's going to, you know, it's going to be this huge, it's going to be like Faust. That's what he tells everyone. This is going to be a musical Faust.
Now, in the show, one guy's got to be at the helm. And in Jeff, we got someone we can trust to...
Yes, it is the devil come to claim the soul of the modern Faust man. With flapping wings and grinning evil eyes, he points the way to the yawning pits of hell.
And of course, everyone is incredibly concerned. The two writers are concerned that their work is being totally destroyed. The actors are concerned that this isn't going to work out. But also, Tony Hunter and Gabrielle Gerard have a meeting with each other, and it's a very terrible meeting because, you know, what you would assume happened does happen. He has sort of a complex about his age and about how old he is and about working with this younger girl, and she doesn't think that he even wants her in the play, which is correct. He doesn't really want her in the play, but she also has this feeling inside of her that she's not wanted and she's not going to be good enough, and he has that same feeling that he's not going to be good enough. So they have a few rehearsals. They try the dancing, they try the numbers, but Tony just isn't able to get it because he doesn't know how to do ballet, and he's older. He doesn't move as well, apparently. So they keep cutting his parts, and they cut his parts little by little until he really doesn't have that much left. And he tells everyone, you know, I'm not going to do this anymore. You've cut my parts out too much. I still have something in me, but you guys don't think I have anything left. So I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to walk away. He walks away, and then eventually Gabrielle Gerard has a discussion with him. They sit down and they talk and they hash things out, and they basically decide that they're going to do this for themselves. They're going to do it because it's something that they want to do, and, you know, they're not going to let anyone get in the way of their performance. So it's opening night now, and everyone is ready to go. It's opening night, and there's a guy outside he's one of the investors, and he's talking about how there's going to be a big party after the show. It's going to be a great show. Join him for the party. It's going to be a huge party.
Big party at the hotel after the show. I love for you. Big party, big show. Come on. We don't want to miss a thing. Now don't forget the party.
Now, these type of scenes, I've seen enough of these type of scenes in a movie where this guy is really excited and he's really pumped up and he's bragging to everyone that it's going to be a really big party at the end of the movie, and that's how you know the movie's going to be a flop.
Hal, it seems to be a little too much, doesn't it?
Yes.
because there has to be some kind of comedic scene that really drops him down to earth. So everyone goes in to see the play, and then when they come out, yes, it definitely was a flop. Terrible play, terrible musical. No one wanted to see it. It went terrible. So after the play, Tony Hunter is wandering around the hotel. He runs into a room with all the extras are in the room singing and dancing. So he decides to go in there and he hangs out with them and he sings along with them. Gabrielle Gerard goes in there as well, and they start hanging around and singing with each other. And they decide, you know what? We're going to continue this play. Or this musical. We're not going to let it close just because we had one bad night. So they talk with the director, who is Jeffery Cordova, and he consents that he really was not the good leader that this team needed. That there's people who are leaders and there's people who are followers, and that he is consenting to give up his leadership role to Tony Hunter so that they can make this production really great.
One man has to be at the helm, the rest take orders. I believe in what you said. I got carried away in the wrong direction. You've got to be the boss, Tony. I think you can pull this off.
Now, Gabrielle Gerard, her boyfriend Paul Bird, he decides he doesn't want any part of this anymore. Now that Tony Hunter is kind of in the lead, he doesn't want to do the choreography anymore. So he leaves, and he expects Gabrielle Gerard to go with him, but she doesn't. She says, "I'm going to continue this. I'm going to continue what we started. I'm going to keep going." So they end up doing the play. There's a lot of really cool scenes. There's one really the best part of the musical is at the end, where it's like a gangster type scene. It's really great. And then when the movie ends at the end, the musical was a big hit, and Tony Hunter is kind of in his dressing room, and he walks out of his dressing room, and everyone's standing there cheering at him and applauding that he was able to get this off the ground, that he was able to do such a great job, even though he's no longer washed up, because he proved that he can do it.
He's a jolly good fellow. He's a jolly good fellow. He's a jolly good fellow that nobody can deny.
And that's the end of the movie. Yay! All right. Like I said in the beginning of this movie, I really enjoyed it. Now, Fred Astaire, for me, I haven't had good experiences with him. Like I said, I saw Top Hat and I saw The Holiday Inn. In both of those movies, I felt that he was way too conceited. He was way too into himself. In Holiday Inn, he's actually kind of a bad guy, sort of. And I guess you could argue in Top Hat maybe a little bit too. There's always a love triangle in the two movies that I saw with him. And it's always... It amounts to ridiculous plot line, and it doesn't go anywhere. And I really was bummed. I really was disappointed by Top Hat and by The Holiday Inn. So when I saw another Fred Astaire movie, I was like, oh God, how am I going to get through this movie? But this movie was a lot like Singing in the Rain for me. Singing in the Rain, I think, came out 2 years before this, but it's the same kind of premise. Where there's kind of a washed up actor. And Singing in the Rain, it was because he was a silent movie star, and then once the talkies came around, he was kind of washed up and no one wanted him anymore. And it's about rebuilding your career when you're washed up, trying to figure out that special sauce, that special thing that'll get you back in the limelight, and then going out and doing it. It's about the friends who surround him. It's about the supporting cast that surrounds him. I will say that Jack Buchanan as Jeffery Cordova was hilarious in this movie. Absolutely fantastic. There's a scene, the funniest scene in this movie is also one of the best scenes in this movie to me. There's a scene where he's trying to manage everyone on the set, and there's a point where the set has to go up at one point and go down at another point, and they get it the wrong way, and the set just starts coming up and going down at random, and he kind of gets mixed up in this wiring, and it's hilarious.
It doesn't go down, it goes up. Take it up. But for heaven's sake, look at your cue sheet. Now, take it up. Way up. No, not me.
And for a comic relief in this movie, he was really good. Now, he wasn't as good as Donald O'Connor as the comic relief in Singing in the Rain, but he was incredibly good in this movie. Even at the end of the movie, there's with the musical that's going on. It's a modern type of musical, what you saw with Gotta Dance and Singing in the Rain, sort of that same type of thing. Even Cyd Charise was in that scene in Singing in the Rain. And Singing in the Rain is my favorite musical of all time. So this mirrored a lot of that for me, which I really enjoyed. It was nice seeing Fred Astaire in a movie where he's humble, in a movie where he, isn't all about himself, where he actually isn't always the center of attention. I thought Cyd Charise did a really good job in this movie as, his opposite, his female opposite. Now, at the end of the movie, I still think it's a little ridiculous when they end up sort of getting together as a couple. They each fall in love with each other. I mean, he's still like 20-something years older than her. Now, obviously, that wasn't a big thing back then. It's still not a huge thing today. But I don't know. When it happens in movies, it's always the female who's the younger and the guy who's the oldest, and it just gets boring. It gets old after a while. I just, can we just see two people who are similar age get together and be together? But he still had to have some big victory at the end because he's Fred Astaire. He has to have some win, and I guess Cyd Charise was kind of how he won at the end. And then Nanette Fabray and Oscar Levant as the two writers of the script. I thought they were really good. I thought Nanette Fabray was a little bit better. I was really focusing on Oscar Levant a couple times because there's a few times in this movie where I don't think he's like that great of an actor, and there's also a few times where I definitely don't think he can dance. I think that he's kind of the fish out of water in this movie, where if there was a person who doesn't really fit into this movie, it's probably him, but I thought everyone else was really good. As their roles and as their characters. James Mitchell as Paul Byrne didn't have a lot to do, but what he did I thought was really good as well. And the acting is fantastic. The music is good. The music is not as good as other musicals. I won't remember any of these songs probably. Whereas I can remember a lot of songs in All That Jazz or West Side Story, Singing in the Rain. With a musical, the music has to be a focal point, and I didn't think the songs were all that fantastic. I thought they were just par for the course. I didn't think they were great. And that's really important for a musical to have. But all in all, I thought they did a really good job with it. And it's still a much better than average musical. I think a lot of people have this in their top 10 favorite musicals of all time or top 10 greatest musicals of all time. I don't know if I would necessarily put it there, but honestly, I haven't really thought about what my top 10 musicals of all time would be, so maybe it would be there, but I don't think so. I think it's just a really fun musical to watch. It's definitely the most fun I've had watching a Fred Astaire movie, and the least annoyed I've had watching a Fred Astaire movie, so it was a much better viewing experience than what I've had before, and I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you. I hope you join me for my next review for Wages of Fear. Have a good day.